live.
Oh, hey, there we go.
Hey, Matt, how's it going?
Hey, Super Matt has joined the chat.
Yes.
Super mod.
Yeah, we gotta turn you into super mod. Then you can control what words can be said in the chat.
Oh, are we having problems with that?
No, they just introduced that. That's a new feature.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, mods can like now edit
so
the chat dictionary.
Get in on it before things happen. Right.
Right. Yeah, that'll be fun. All right. Oh, yeah, that's a good point. If there's like something trending, kind of controversial, then you can just kind of take it out of your chat if you don't want to see names and things popping up, because people love to spam that kind of stuff.
People do love to be assholes.
All right. That's right. Matt has a wrench and a cape now, right? Very good. So what have you been up to?
Not a lot.
Oh, yeah?
not a lot. I don't know. Like, still... Actually, no, that's not true. I've been doing a lot of play tests and designs of solo card game using a lot of the pixel art that I have that's kind of evoking Space Invaders.
Oh, cool.
So it's just cards that up over the top and then kind of like filter down. Yeah, I mean, I have so many like space shooter pixel art assets, and I'm like, okay, let's actually do it. And for once, I mathed it out. So the game actually works. Instead of just going, let's eyeball it, and then going, oh, this didn't fucking work.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, like the solo resource games are kind of hard because you've got to like, okay, figure out exactly how much you need and how much is going to get kind of wasted anyway, so it was a lot of that. But I finally got it to work. So
nice.
And of course, instead of finishing it, I'm iterating on it and making other games with it. Yeah.
Nice.
Unfortunately. Yeah. How about you?
Not much. Just priming and painting some dwarves. So yeah, I'll get some elves primed this weekend. So we should be good for next. Yeah. So not this Saturday, but next Saturday should be our first game of Oathmark.
This Saturday, unfortunately, not unfortunately. I mean, fine for me, but my kid has some kind of performance at daycare, which is why I can't do anything. But yes, next Saturday afternoon.
Nice.
Looking forward to getting my butt kicked by a bunch of stumpy little dwarves.
Yeah, we'll see. Very slowly moving towards here.
We'll see if that activation score of 3 that makes elves so fucking expensive pays off or not.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, right.
Still haven't gotten my, I'll have to contact them. Still haven't gotten my latest order from North Star Miniatures because the UK mail's all fucked up for a while.
Right.
But I may be like, could you cancel that? And I swap over to a different faction.
Yeah, right. Oh,
I was thinking, the elves suck. Too bad I ordered like 5 boxes of them.
That's right. Here come reinforcements.
Yeah. We're going to play something else. Yeah.
You just shave the ears down and make them human faction.
Now, North Star Games has been really good customer service when I've dealt with them before. So I haven't sent the email yet, but I'm sure if I'd be like, okay, just checking in on the status, I'm sure they would fix it.
Right.
Like,
I wonder what the situation is if it's all at holding stations. When their computers went down, I wonder if like all the mail just froze and they're just.
I'm not sure. Yeah.
It's just sitting there. Yeah, because I've been getting notifications too. It's on the way after like 3 weeks.
Yeah. No, I haven't even gotten anything that's saying it's on the way. Just it was dispatched like beginning of almost even end of December.
Oh wow. Yeah.
So normally that stuff takes about at least like max like 3 weeks to show up. So yeah.
Fun. Hey Miguel, how's it going? Oh, Matt says he's been enjoying your pixel art posts on
thanks.
Instagram, right? Or
Twitter?
Twitter?
It's mostly Twitter.
Twitter.
I can't split focus, right? So it's one or the other, and I kind of go through cycles. But I've been going over on Instagram a little bit too. But thanks.
Nice.
Hey Miguel, I'm looking to see pictures of those Necrons.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Some Necrons for Stargrave. All right. Well, should we do this? There's not a heck of a lot going on. There was, and of course, Free League always, like, the night before, sends some sort of update or some sort of email. Like, well, we could have talked about that. But so we'll mention it if we have time. Otherwise, we'll just save it for next week. All right. So let's do this. So thanks, guys. Good to see you, everyone in the chat. And, we'll get going. Welcome to the Weekly. I'm Jeremy.
I'm Chris.
And this week on the Weekly, Day 10, Kyle Brink, Resignation Watch.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Hashtag resign Kyle. So 10 days after he said, guys like me shouldn't be in this business.
He's still there.
Yeah, he's still there. Yeah. he's still collecting a paycheck. Well, actions speak louder than words, Kyle.
Yes, they do. Yeah.
All right. And the other things we're going to talk about are Roll is going mobile, so a mobile app for Roll VTT, although they don't like to be called a VTT.
Okay.
Demiplane's Nexus for Indy 5e.
Okay.
Black Flag Playtest 1 has come out. Broken Weave, we mentioned that before, but I think we talk about it a little bit more. There's some interesting details. And Tales from the Loop is getting a new expansion.
Oh, okay.
And this time in England. So everything is over in England now. The most recent Vaesen was England. So yeah, they keep basing stuff. I think they've got some connections with some good writers in England. So they're getting some good stuff going. All right, so let's start with Roll. So actually, I have some experience now. When I was first speaking about this, I didn't have any experience, and their website is not a great representation of what the actual platform is like. Okay. The website's a little too over-designed and, neon pink and purple, and okay, let's give me some useful information here. But it's actually a very nice, it's not a virtual tabletop. It's an integrated tabletop play experience.
I wonder what their problem with calling it a virtual tabletop is.
I don't know. Maybe there's some features that they know they're never going to add. I mean, they have webcams, and so I don't know. I don't know what the thing is that they don't want to add that will change that. And I think what they want it to be is a device at the table as well as remotely. Okay. So calling it a VTT maybe implies only online play, where some people do, when they're together, use a VTT as their like digital map and everything. Right. But yes, so they've just announced that they are going mobile. So now all mobile devices, tablets and phones, will have a mobile option. And they designed. First, they wanted to, of course, get the website, get the web version worked out. But now they want every device, every platform for this to be usable. So they're trying to create a seamless game room support across smartphones, tablets, desktops, and more. So things like immersive room theming, custom audio support, colored dice, and improvement to the video are coming our way. And right now, they already have a lot. It's grown. Their library has grown considerably. Some of the standout RPGs that are on their platform specifically are Masks, The Next Generation, Lancer, Mörk Borg, Dune, Adventures in the Imperium, and many, many more. And they're also working on their own game, actually. Okay. Chrome, a cyberpunk RPG based on the Panic engine. So they are gamers themselves, which is good. And unfortunately, their game is probably going to have a huge advantage because it maybe specifically, the design of that, of those options, those templates is going to be pretty amazing, I'm sure.
I'm sure. But I mean, okay, I guess tangentially what I was thinking is like, okay, in the little indie design sphere, I kind of am on the fringe of. People talk about like, designing for mobile apps, and the one PDF I saw was like this just like huge long thing that was perfect for scrolling, right? And so designing your product to fit the platform it's going to be on is just a smart idea. Yeah. So like I'm sure, right? It's their game, it's their platform, there's going to be an advantage there, but designing things for VTTs or not VTTs, right? Designing things for online play, like that's just good sense, right? And it's going to take not a while, but people are going to have to adapt. And if this becomes popular, then maybe more people will design specifically for it rather than kind of retrofit stuff to fit. Oh yeah.
And it's always terrible to see when you've got something that's a mobile app that you know it's obviously just going to a website that was designed to be a website, and it's barely working on your phone, and things aren't sized correctly, and it's good when things are specifically designed for mobile. So Ellie Dwight, the CEO at Roll, was talking about what they already have now, and about 10,000 unique game templates that you can use just for any kind of experience you want. And it works really well for both strategic measured map gameplay as well as Lancer? Just theater of the mind. Yeah, as well as theater of the mind.
Like Masks.
Yeah. Yes, yeah, right. So they did a really good job with that. So they have, of course, text chat and dice logs and all those good things that VTTs have, but this isn't a VTT. And a persistent chat log that you can keep referring back to. So through all devices and everything through your whole session, you can go back and check what everyone's doing. And what is the best thing about this? Not VTT it's still early access, so it's a 100% free.
Oh wow, okay.
So it's still changing, and sometimes you have to relearn and find where things are as they add new features because they're kind of moving things around. But all the improvements that they've made so far have been improvements. It's not been like, oh, this is going to be difficult. It's always been more ease of use, better designs and more convenient. Because what they'll do is when you're rolling, because we're playing Forbidden Lands on it, so we're rolling D6 dice pools, and we want to be able to see the spread of all of the results, and the total is not important.
Right. You also want to see like colors and stuff.
Right. And so and what's really nice is it'll put it in order and it'll break it between the stat, the skill, and the gear. It's already working well in that way. Yeah. So it's a very very flexible, very good. Not tabletop, no, not VTT.
Yeah.
But they're already working on custom card decks, which would be useful because we're using D10 instead of initiative cards.
Oh, right, okay.
Which Year Zero engine is always kind of drawing initiative cards in, so you can trade them around and stuff a little bit easier. Better tabletop maps and whiteboarding. So all that good stuff is coming up. So it's worth checking out. So after the death of Astral, I was really looking for something, and this is, I think, the closest equivalent to the types of things that you could do with Astral, and it's getting more and more support, and it's got some nice flexibility in the character sheets and stuff. It's there's a lot of options there and a lot of things that you can do, and I imagine it's only going to be more and more as more games are moved over there. So it's because I'm just setting up now Foundry for Vaesen, and so when you use the pre-built Free League packages, it's smooth as butter. But if you need to do stuff yourself, it's like editing editing one of those WordPress websites. It's like going in and and finding the path for every file and loading everything in one at a time. I'm sure there are batch ways to do it, but for me, I'm just like, this is brutal. If I want to change anything, it's pretty rough. So that's a little bit slow. So this is more intuitive. The thing I really loved about Astral, it was just total drag and drop. So even in live sessions, you can just be throwing things on the desktop. Sometimes they loaded very slowly, but that was just because it was being twilighted. But so I would recommend if you're looking for something, and now that they have mobile, I definitely want to check out the mobile option on this to see how the experience changes and how they deal with the menus and things, because they do a lot of good hiding menus. And so that should work well with mobile. So that's it. Yeah. So Playrole, ROLE.com is their website. So roll is a difficult search. So they had to do a difficult hashtag. So they did Playrole.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, critters.
Yeah. Right. And it's not a VTT. And moving on to other digital not VTTs, Demiplane is talking about their digital toolset now for 5e, but not the world's greatest role-playing game. For independent tabletop RPG publishers that are using the 5e system. So they want to develop tools to support games that aren't Dungeons and Dragons.
I'm sorry, what the fuck is the distinction?
Yeah, so we have no intent to be partnered with Wizards of the Coast. So anyone that's going to develop a game using the SRD, it's not D&D, and Demiplane wants to support it. So we talked about Demiplane in the past with their Nexus system for Pathfinder. So they've supported the digital tool sets for Pathfinder, which was kind of it sounded like the end of the year before last. That last year they were ramping up to compete with D&D Beyond as a digital tool set, and now things have gotten a little bit crazier. So they're working on a new set of tools to ease the burden of playing RPGs online, and but they don't want to. So originally, the toolset trades on the Wizards of the Coast name recognition to shine a light on independent publishers. So chief developer,
as long as those independent publishers are using 5e.
Yeah, right.
I don't understand this. Sorry.
Right, but so Adam Bradford announced that. They will be supporting the system reference document 5.1. So anything developed for that, they are going to be supporting on this platform. Yeah, so it is an interesting move, I guess, because they aren't ever going to be able to support D&D because it's going to be its own thing.
Yep.
So they're trying to get everything in the periphery to say, we're here for you. So if you need a digital tool set, that's what we're doing. So
That's okay. Like I didn't read that article, but that seems kind of weird, right? Like I guess you had to do it, right? Because D&D 5e is still like according to them, world's most popular role-playing game. We can't partner with them. Like, we can't do anything with them. They're going to be D&D Beyond, right? So let's make sure we're compatible with 5e, but not use 5e, right?
Right.
What are you doing here, right?
Right.
I have to wonder if people who play D&D 5e but are still on D&D Beyond, right? Like, okay, I'm sure there are some people who will play D&D online but don't want to use D&D Beyond. I guess. I have to imagine that number or percentage is fairly small, right? Because if you're the kind of person who goes, yeah, well, WotC, you're not going to play D&D at all, right?
Right.
Or you're going to like do something, I don't know. It seems really weird to me that you'd go, yep, we're not going to play D&D. We're going to play the 5e SRD and not on D&D Beyond, on this other thing that's kind of the same.
Right.
I don't know. I'm like, if you, sure, you have to go where the money is. And if you really wanted to like differentiate yourself, you'd be like, nope, we're not using it. Right? We're not doing it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. This kind of sounds like corporate speak of something they had to do to still get as many people
on their platform.
Without using D&D. I don't know. It's weird.
No, it is, and it might just be this move they felt they should make until things shake out, because we haven't seen what one D&D's digital platform looks like, and if they really screw it up, and these guys are already in place to say, oh yeah, that's unusable, look at this digital tool set we have, that may be, they're just trying to fill in the blanks, and
maybe
not knowing how things are going to shake out, because nobody knows. And this is, I can't even imagine the pressure. I mean, I'm sure they're not feeling it, but occasionally they're probably told when there's earnings reports and things that the pressure on the developers for this digital platform has to be pretty tremendous, because if it fails in D&D, the whole thing is going to be in danger.
I guess so, if they're kind of really pushing digital and
right.
Yeah,
because if they can't figure out how to make money from books, and they have warehouses full of unsold books, and then they're like, oh, it's okay, we'll just get everybody on digital, and it doesn't work. You can't bill people, people can't play, there's connectivity. There's
code in the book, right?
right. Yeah, so we'll see how that goes. But but Nexus is there to pick you up if Wizards fails yet again.
Wizards boffs its levitation spell casting, whatever.
Right.
I don't know.
And speaking of replacing D&D 5e with things, the first playtest packet for Black Flag from Kobold Press came out, so I'll put a link to that in the description. People were very positive on the Kobold website, but they might curate their comments on one of the other places where they posted the notification. There are some people were just like, what the hell is this? A playtest should be this, and this, and because
great, do it yourself then, right?
Yeah.
Where's your playtest, jackass?
Right, they're releasing it in, it definitely sounds like kids from the video game world, because that's the first thing they cite. When you playtest a video game, you do this, and this, and so these are not compatible industries.
No.
Those are not the same thing at all. But I was surprised at kind of how, just calm down, folks. They were about this first little piece of a playtest. And it is really a first little part of character creation. Okay. So just kind of, showing you how they're changing terms and how they want to present things. So the packet 1, and they're calling it, everything is cited in brackets, core fantasy role playing, because Black Flag is maybe just the playtest name, and they may be changing it. So it's like Project Black Flag.
Right.
So they may actually change it to something. So everything is in brackets to be replaced eventually, I guess, like a placeholder of core fantasy role playing. And so what we've gotten introduced to so far is that they're going to go with heritage instead of race and sub-race like original 5e. They're going with
heritage and sub-heritage?
Sub-heritage. No, I totally lost it. Heritage, and it's not background. Oh, where did it go? But it works. I think it works well. It sounds very fantasy themed, and it's not species. I think species was a really bad choice.
Heritage and kin? Heritage and...
Yeah, something like that. Where is it? It didn't show up on my... I didn't copy the whole playtest doc, but just the things that they changed. And they said that, if you already have these characters, if you already have characters in 5e, that they actually, if you just rolled a character in 5e, there's only like one major difference so far in that original character creation. But yeah, this only takes you up through. So we haven't gotten to jobs or classes or anything yet. We're just so it's only elf, dwarf, human, and then there's within each of those there's two whatever its background.
There's two whatevers in human as well.
Two sub. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yes. Yeah. It's kind of like city and nomadic humans.
Okay.
And then dwarves are like, of course, like.
Stone and hill.
Stone and hill, and elves are wood and
God knows.
Yeah, floating, a floating city.
Okay, I'm gonna have to go look at this because I'm curious. Like, okay, like not to get into it, but you open up a real can of worms when you try to classify different types of human.
Oh, right.
Unless it's
well, they did, yeah.
Right, unless it's completely about culture. Right. So I would be curious to see what kind of bonuses or penalties or how they differentiate.
Oh, yeah.
Because as soon as you get into stuff that could be biological, you've kicked the hornet's nest. If it's purely cultural, which are purely skills, then okay, fine. Right.
Yeah, it's lineage and heritage.
Lineage. And
heritage. So lineage is the race, and heritage is the subrace.
Culture.
Culture. Yeah. So I think that sounds nice. I mean, those are much better terms for fantasy. It just depends on how mechanically they use them, but I think they sound nice within the rules, and also the heritages of the different lineages had nice names. They were named well and didn't sound. You could see what they were referencing, but they sounded a little fresher and a little original. Okay. So it weren't buried in that.
I'm gonna have to go look at this then.
Yeah, and they also posted on their blog, the Coldboat Press blog, kind of playtesting tips, and basically emphasized, please be considerate, be appropriate, be useful, and be focused, because we really want this to, we want this to be good. And they went through and kind of defined what those things were.
Nice. It's helpful that they went through and defined them rather than just kind of leaving them nebulous.
Right.
Here's exactly what we want.
Right. Yeah, this is what we're talking about. Yeah, so I'm curious how much support this is going to get and how this will turn out, and if it will feel, close enough but different enough that, you might get people, moving over or just kind of abandoning. If this is an easy step, that's got to be, because it's got to be, close. The stone has to be close enough that you're not going to fall in the water, but you don't want it to be like, I could have just stayed here.
Yeah. That's the thing, right? Like, I wonder if, the way that the OSR has a whole bunch of loosely compatible and generally the same kind of systems, except for each person who's put their own little spin or little difference on them, right? Like sometimes I look at OSR stuff and I'm like, why? Right? Like you didn't need to this whole new rule set. You just could have made this an adventure, right? Or like a background thing or some kind of setting, right? I wonder if the SRD, the 5e SRD becoming Creative Commons and this huge misstep by Wizard, is this going to spawn like a 5e glut? Right? And I know that's a negative word, but like all these people, it seems like a bunch of publishers are going to go, it's D&D, but not.
Yeah, right. Yeah, D&D, but not.
It's class, race, level, D20, 6 ability scores, everything you know and love in D&D, just not.
Right. We did this awesome find and replace on the SRD.
Yeah, really. You're
going to be really.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah, I don't know. Like, there's got to be. We were talking about Oathmark, right? And like I've said before, reading Oathmark, I was like, okay, it's a rank and flank fantasy game, right? Then you got to the Kingdom Builder, I was like, and this is what's different. This is what makes it stand out, right?
Right.
So it doesn't even, I guess it wouldn't even really have to be something mechanical for the 5e boom, right? It could be like, it's basically 5e, but we've got this awesome setting.
Right.
Or it could be, it's 5e except for this thing that has a whole bunch of domino effects that makes the game feel completely different, right? I don't know. I think you need something to differentiate yourself. Right?
Well, speaking of differentiating yourself, and if you wanted to play a game where you were basically destroying 5e, you're basically destroying the Forgotten Realms, or you're living in a post-apocalypse, Broken Weave has you covered. Yeah, so the new Cubicle 7 game that we mentioned, I think, previously, is going to use the 5e system, but it's corrupted 5e, and the setting, it's kind of the fall, the death of the gods, the world is ending, or the world is ended, and this is something that we kind of talked about as well. So not only is it kind of post-apocalyptic 5e, but it's also eliminating the colonialism or anything out of the fantasy setting, because you're going back in the past to just retrieve anything of value, but the past is dead. Basically, everything is collapsed, and so you're not going into living civilizations and robbing them and subjugating them, and because they're not human or they're not like you're actually trying to rescue what was good about the past and what should live. And the other interesting thing that they did in Broken Weave is it has a specific corruption mechanic, and each race kind of corrupts in a different way. Each of the kin or the lineages, or whatever you want to call them. And so they're the inspiration for Broken Weave they cite as Dark Souls, Elden Ring, Shadows of the Colossus, Annihilation, and the Dark Tower. Does that mean the Stephen King book series, or does that mean the board game?
I'm guessing the Stephen King Dark series.
Yeah.
And man, if we ever play this game and someone's intestines start spinning around, I'm fucking out. Right.
Right.
Anyway.
But so I was surprised. I think this has been done before. We talked about a few years ago an Italian 5e run RPG that was all basically you're playing your characters in the afterworld, like in the you're all revenants basically of what would have been your D&D characters, but so 5e post-apocalyptic tragic fantasy. The gods are dead, the world is being reshaped by decay, and hope is fleeting. Though not extinguished, so with new mechanics for hope, decay, and keeping your community together, harvesting monsters, and more, this is the dark side of fantasy.
Interesting. I'm going to have to go look at this because that sounds interesting. It opens up other pitfalls.
Yeah, right.
Right?
Yeah, you can't.
Okay, you're going back in the past to retrieve things of value. Who gets to decide what's valuable, right? Like there's potential for a problem there, and I'm not specifically looking to nitpick, but I remember when I was talking about Ironsworn before, right? Like the Ironsworn setting is pretty cool. It's very minimalist. You basically answer these questions in kind of a checklist, and that sets your setting for you. One of the questions is like, were elves and dwarves, or were people already here when you arrived, or was the land completely empty, right? And I didn't realize it at the time, but someone pointed out that like both of those are kind of problematic because one can turn into like colonialism and the other is eminent domain, right? Kind of like the idea, or maybe I got that term wrong, but it's like we have a right to this land because it's empty, right? So that could possibly be another pitfall of Broken Weave, where it's like, okay, everything's dead. Everything's gone. We can't interrupt, living civilizations, but that gives us the God-given right to go and plunder it. And
but the gods are dead. Yeah, no, I get you.
So I'm not saying it has that. I'm just saying,
right?
It's something you might have to explore, and I would be curious to see how the designers explored that, or if they just kind of hand-waved it away.
Right. Yeah, I wonder. And using hope as a mechanic is interesting as well. Yeah, I wonder, does that really feel... I mean, I understand the choosing that term, but does that really oppose decay? Hope,
it might.
Hope
it
is
might.
very weak.
Or I'd be curious to see the mechanics. Is it just another like hit point pool?
Yeah,
minus 2 hope. Yeah, minus 5 hope, right? I don't know.
I really hope I don't decay. Yeah, so... yeah, but I was surprised because we had mentioned this, and this was one of the, because Cubicle 7 has a lot of licensed titles, and this was one of their original things that I thought needed some attention. It was also what is going to also, this Kickstarter campaign is revealing their C7D20 system. Yeah. So that's coming too. Lots of D20 systems to choose from. But if you want to get away from all that pesky D20 and into wonderful D6 die pools in the Year Zero engine, a new expansion for Free League's Tales from the Loop is coming. So it's basically a campaign book that will give you adventures, a string of adventures. And the collection is called They Grow Up So Fast. And I think the second one, which I'm totally blanking on, After the Flood, so they aged up your characters in that story. So I'm not sure what they're going to do, because this is a totally different setting. But in the previous campaign book, they aged your characters up a bit, so you had the experience of whatever you did before, and took the characters a little bit older. So I'm not sure if this continues, or if actually this is for maybe new characters, because it is a completely different setting. And like I said, it's a UK setting, and what they are doing, as Free League usually does, if you pre-order the physical book, you get the PDF right away. So the PDF is finished, the book is at the printers, and it will be available August for $31 US.
It's not bad.
Yeah, so and they'll handle all their PDFs through drive-through, so you get a drive-through link. But yeah, it sounds like there'll be abilities. You like change things up in what. So I guess that there's something different in the approach, and maybe, but it is all based around of course, a British loop. You know, there is a loop, and so another company, another mysterious company that has buried a particle accelerator under the ground, and all hell has broken loose. So yeah, I was excited to see that. I was wondering if they were going to keep supporting, and I guess because Stranger Things hasn't gone away, like the kids on bikes thing hasn't gone away, so it's good that they're still.
Did Tales from the Loop predate Stranger Things?
It was real close. Yeah, it was. Yeah, I'm trying to think. The book did. The book that it was based on.
The art book. Yeah.
Yeah, right. But I'm not sure if the actual release of the game, it probably was pretty close. And it seemed to all be happening at the same time. So I think because they did reference, I think they referenced Stranger Things in the marketing, but I don't know if that was like Kickstarter marketing or whatever. That might have been retail, like once it came to retail. Because it was Kickstarted, so it had that couple year lag. Or at least a year to get produced. But yeah, it was just all that momentum kind of carried it. The nostalgia for Goonies and and E.T. and then seeing Stranger Things being produced, I think definitely helps it. The if you haven't watched I think it's an Amazon series. The Tales from the Loop Amazon series is very fascinating. It's well done. It wasn't anything that I expected because I was thinking it was going to be very kids on bikes based, and like, oh god, some more annoying kid actors, and they're gonna try to do Stranger Things, but they didn't. They totally took it away and made it like have some really weird time, and it was like a really good 8-hour episode of Twilight Zone. Like it was really executed well. But in an interesting way, because it was timeless. Like, I don't know where the heck this is. They're speaking English, but I have no idea what country this is. I have no idea what time it is. People look like they're dressed with like the 60s, but or like maybe late 60s, early 70s. But I have no idea what country we're even in because it looked Scandinavia, but it wasn't. So they did a really good job of kind of like removing any kind of context and making a really unusual story. But I liked it, and Jonathan Pryce was in it, so you can't go wrong. All right, so I think that's going to do it. The one thing that came in late, details about what's going to be included. That's the thing I always miss. So They Grew Up So Fast will include a 4-part campaign taking place in the UK loop of Norfolk Broads. Extensive information about the Norfolk Broads loop and the areas surrounding it, so probably a nice map like they did with Scandinavia. Tips on how to set the campaign either in your Swedish or U.S. loops if you're already in a. You can still play this in the setting that you're already established. And new Tales from the Loop art, maps, and handouts.
Cool.
So there we go. And if it's Free League, we know it's going to be nice quality. So the last thing, another little bit of Free League, they did officially announce the release of the license for Year Zero and Dragonbane.
Oh, okay.
So we can talk about that a little bit more, next week in depth. But I got the email after midnight. This isn't going into the podcast. But so we mentioned those were coming, and so now they are here. So you'll be able to take a look at how they handled it, and I'm hoping, and that's kind of I want to talk about it after I've had a minute to see what they did, see if they made any of the same weird mistakes where it's like, we're actually going to own all this. But I think Free League is much smarter than that, and everyone knows now what no third-party developer wants to see.
Right. Well, also I know Free League is kind of I'm going to say second tier, probably along with Evil Hat and Kobold Press and Paizo. So maybe even smaller. I don't know if they are a publicly traded company with shareholders, right?
Right.
So if they're not, they have the ability to just say, okay, we don't really need to make money off of this, apart from people saying that third-party thing was cool. Let me go check out the actual Free League stuff. Right. So I would hope they didn't go, we own everything you make. Right?
Yeah, their workshop, they already have Free League Workshop, and they give you really nice templates and are really, I think it's similar to the Mörk Borg thing. It's just put it out there. And here's a little logo. You can't use our logos, but here's a little logo that says it's compatible, and put it on the workshop so everyone can find it. If they're playing this game, here's more supporting, content.
Probably something along the lines of, you can't imply that we endorse this at all, and like you said, you can't use our logo, but here's a compatible logo you can use. And there's probably a few things like, okay, we'll reserve the right to take down anything that's completely heinous. Right.
Yeah, and with their example of the Mörk Borg third-party stuff, I mean, there's thousands. There's literally thousands. So when you give people an easy, friendly license, they're going to use it, and you're going to see a huge community grow up around a game. And Mörk Borg is a tiny game. It's a very rules-light tiny game, and it's
tiny and bright.
Yeah, right, very, very bright, and it has so many people actively developing for it. So that's something to keep in mind, in case you want to dig your claws in and take a 50% cut of what people are doing.
I have to think that they would not be as many third-party stuff from Mörk Borg if they said, "Great, we own your stuff, and we're taking a 50% cut." No, just like, okay, cool, make something with it.
Yes. You're just cursed forever, and if you develop content for this, you're cursed to die, screaming in hell, dark metal style. But anyhow, okay, so that'll do it for this week. So where can people find you?
On Twitter, as always. I suppose Instagram too. That's Hivemind, HYVEMYND, where it's pixel art stuff and complaining about people who squish you onto the elevator. What is it about Japan and people thinking that space will open up if they back in?
Yes. Right? Yeah, right. Back in. Or hold the top of the door
push. Right? Well, this kid, the elevator was empty. There was no one else on it except me, and the woman still goes like all the way, and I'm like, anyway. So if you want to get more of that, you know where to follow me. How about you?
Excellent. And I'm still doing my single panel gag cartoon, Abuse Cartoons, on YouTube and Twitch, and you can watch me draw it and watch me eat Japanese snacks and talk all kinds of nonsense. And so that's a live stream. It's Wednesday nights now, North American time, because my Tuesdays have been overrun. So I do it on Thursday, but you get it in the
earlier.
past.
Whoa.
It's this early access you guys are getting. And so abusecartoons.com is the website for that. And if you'd like to support what we're doing here, please visit upturntable.com. That's where you can find everything that we're working on. And Upturned Table is on all social media. So YouTube so YouTube, Twitch, and then Twitter and Instagram. And if you'd like to support what we're doing, please consider becoming a patron. So patreon.com/upturntable and become a weakling.
Yes, the strongest of all supporters.
That's with a double E.
Double E.
And, yes, and let us know what you'd like to see more of or less of on the cast. And just have a lot of input and a lot of direct access to what we're doing. And thanks so much for joining us. We'll do this again next week.
Yep. Later, mortals.
Goodbye. Be right back. right. Okay. Yeah, sorry about that. I couldn't get the the be right back to be right back. It was it was ending the stream. I'm glad it didn't physically end it. It was just the end screen. All right. Yeah, so the combined chat isn't working, so I apologize if you're on Twitter. I'm sorry, Twitch. If you're on Twitch or any of the other platforms, I'm not seeing messages right now. It's all it's all acting weird. Let's see. It doesn't appear to be. Yeah, I think we're safe. Doesn't appear to be anybody. So, hey everyone, how's it going? Oh, Abyss, good to see you. And Matt. Oh yeah, Matt was saying, yeah, we're talking about shipping, UK shipping, and Etsy from the UK tracking doesn't even work. Wow. Yeah, their system went down hard. That's a strange thing to attack. I don't know what's going on. Oh, were we getting choppy again? It was green. Yeah, it was green the whole time. Oh no, we were getting choppy again. Ah, great. Okay, I'm gonna have to go down even lower. Yeah, I went down to 3,000 kilobytes. Yeah, but it must be. That's really weird because yeah, I'm using the Streamlabs OBS, so it should know better because it's specifically made for Twitch. So sorry. Yeah, sorry guys if we were acting because yeah, it's dropping up and down between fair and excellent. Very strange. I'll lower that that bit rate again. See if we can get under control. So Matt's saying you were talking about roll. Oh yeah, that's right. Miguel sent me a picture. I got it. I'll show Chris the Necron. You were talking about Necron for Stargrave. Yeah, roll's pretty good for free. The sheets are a little clumsy. Yeah, we'll see if how much they're going to update. Yeah, I have the core stuff on Foundry, and it's nice. It's really well made, but as far as customizing and editing it, it's a little programmery. Like it's very much like editing WordPress. Not so fun. But so is the Black Flag just a direct port of 5e, or are they going to play with the rules at all? I wonder. Yeah, and maybe that's why they're releasing it in little tiny pieces, like Cobalt Press wants to kind of test the waters. I mean, they're renaming everything, but I'm not sure if that means they're going to be really changing things mechanically or not. We'll see. Oh, interesting. Yeah, Dark Sun. That would be cool if they went that direction. Yeah, Cubicle 7 doing 5e. Yeah, it's the it's their version of 5e, so it's using the SRD. They're doing their C7D20 system. So I think Broken Weave is going to be the first game to be doing that. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's a good point. They know how to make a system. Why are they going to use 5e? Nice. If there's no subjugation, it's not Dark Sun. Yeah, that's a very good point, Miguel. So in our Ironsworn, the elves were super evil, and we were space Vikings. Nice. Oh, very cool. There's definitely flexibility there. Yeah. Tales from the Loop. It's interesting. We did a pretty big review. We haven't played Tales from the Loop though. There was the group that would have been perfect for that. People started to kind of go back to their home countries and stuff, so it kind of fell apart. But the art book the Tales from the Loop art book was 2014. Stranger Things was 2016, and Tales from the Loop was 2015. Yeah, wow. So they did, the timing was really great because it was at least entering kind of American pop culture consciousness exactly when they were at retail. So if you wanted a game to play Stranger Things, that was the game. I guess there was Kids on Bikes was around that time too. But that's great. Yeah, I really like, and Year Zero engine is really nice. And with Tales from the Loop, they completely take, kids don't die. I think that's the thing that they may have changed when they aged them up a little bit. They may have changed that mechanic. But of course, because you're talking about what is it like? The oldest is 14 or 15. That you don't want you don't want to be dealing with dead kid bodies, but they really do get across the idea that the adults don't listen, don't understand you, don't believe anything you say, they're useless, and you have to, with your own resources, kind of solve these mysteries and figure out what's going on. And some adults can be, useful in some ways, but for the most part, if you try to explain to them, I just saw a dinosaur, Mom, they're not going to they're not going to believe you. But yeah, they did a good job with that, and just being out of the scene, like when you are broken, you're basically out of the scene. In Tales from the Loop, that system works really well. So it's interesting because Forbidden Lands is very deadly using the Year Zero system, and Tales from the Loop is very safe. You make kind of Spielberg type decisions, and you don't worry. You can slide all the way down the slide into the pirate ship, and you're not going to be skewered by any boards or horrible traps at the end of it. So yeah, they soften it up in a nice way. Nice. But I think it's a certain sensibility, though. I think it's a more Tales from the Loop. I think I don't know what if you're looking for something. Well, like that was the scandal. That was the weird thing. The scandal at the UK Game Expo all those years ago now, like pre-pandemic, was they were trying to include themes of rape and drugging and torture and stuff in a Tales from the Loop game. So obviously that game is not built to do that. So if you're going to force that to happen, it's bizarre. But some people obviously want that. They want that kind of edgier, more violent content in their game. So don't play that system, because it's specifically has the corners rounded off, and it's the safety scissors, of Year Zero engine games. So nice. So yeah, good to see you, Abyss. All right. Oh, Caved and Bought Soul Shackle. Oh, cool. The little table map room piece was just too cute. Nice. Miguel says you're going to GW Hell. All right. That's funny. Oh yeah, they did have objective markers in it. Nice. As long as it's not Forge World. Forge World Hell, yeah, that's full of very toxic resin. Nice. Yeah, I think the better move for the lineage heritage system would be to use a species instead of race. Ultimately, if you cannot say what you mean, you never mean what you say. Oh, Christopher Cobley, good point. Yeah, that's a good point. I don't like the scientific, like species sounds oddly scientific, and so in a fantasy game, it sounds fine in sci-fi or whatever. And I know that there used to not be lines between those genres so strongly. But yeah, species sounds a little weirdly analytical or something that it might be a little breaking for fantasy. I don't know, but no, that's a good point. If you can't say what you mean, you never mean what you say. Yeah, good point. Oh, the dice also fall off the table, so you'll never find the pieces. Nice. And Christopher also said, so if they do not like the legacy tenets of D&D, they should just make a new system. Same for individuals that wanted to change the violence of D&D, since, go to a place, kill things, and take their stuff, original recipe. Right, yeah. If you don't like that, then you don't want to play D&D, and trying to make it do something, or be something it's not, or do something that it can't, yeah, is a little silly. Like trying to make it a romance simulator, like, try to make 5e work as a... hallways and feelings kind of game. Nice. Japan Soul Shackle. Oh, I can't even imagine. Yeah, I've given up even looking at the prices. Yeah, basically, I'm not gonna buy anything after these last two Siege of Terra books come out. I'm done with purchases directly from GW, because there's only punishment. Yeah, I think they've just determined they've made the probably correct assumption that Japanese if Japanese people are into a hobby, they're into it all the way, so they don't even look at price tags, and they just throw their family's money around. So yeah, people don't mind don't mind paying ridiculous things. I mean, because like box sets for Blu-rays and things in Japan can be like $800. Like there's no upper limit to any of this stuff. So it's not, your entertainment and your disposable income is disposed of very quickly. Yeah, it looks for a game with a rape theme. Oh yeah, well I wasn't saying specifically, but that guy wanted to be edgy, so he had. Do you remember? Yeah, do you guys remember that story? A bunch of like teenagers woke up that were tied up in the back of a van, and the person then told them, "We drugged and raped you." It's like, oh, okay, great way to start an adventure. Yeah, looks for games. I'm sure there's somebody out there. Yeah, but that was. Very good point, Matt. That was very odd that they tried to, that's a weird thing to introduce. If you look at what the intention of Tales from the Loop is, why would you even think you'd want to do that? Yes. Yeah, Kin. Yeah, I like Kin a lot. I think that's Forbidden Lands is Kin, I think. I like that a lot. Matt's got his wrench. Cult Lost Divinity has a lot of adult themes. Oh, rape as an example is the beginning of the core book? Oh, wow, interesting. Yeah, and isn't that that was the controversy that popped? And maybe it wasn't. It was something else. But with the latest version of Vampire the Masquerade, there was something about consent and things. Oh, yeah, it is horror. Yeah. I don't picture people going specifically for the rape, right? You come for the horror, you stay for the rape mechanics. Interesting. Yeah, that's and especially as people are, if you've got an established game group that these people, those kind of difficult content or difficult subject matter, you probably be able to navigate. But yeah, having people, and especially like mixed gendered groups at the table, I don't think there's any way to really navigate a lot of that stuff because you have no idea what sorts of things are going to go off. Chris talked on the cast a few years back about a Monster Hearts, and first edition of Monster Hearts, basically you could make people do what you wanted. They didn't. The mechanics weren't so clear. The rules weren't so clear that you can reject like manipulation and things that when something compels you, like the sex move kind of thing. When people compel you to do that, you have a choice to say no, and I think that was a newer version of it in second edition. But Chris talked about being very disturbed, being chased through a classroom by a ghoul that was a lustful ghoul that just became very disturbing. Abyss says, Twitter's broken me and destroyed my view on people. Yeah, right. Yes. Miguel says, I can imagine complaining about Vampire for anything. Yeah. And Christopher said they used it as an example to gauge how the party could understand it and handle difficult themes, but almost no good reason to have it. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's a very different time. The old assumptions about you're playing with friends that are kind of same generation, same age, kind of same neighborhood, or the same school district or whatever, you're going to have a lot of common relatable experiences and common things. But now that people are playing online with strangers, or like in the situation here where it's just people from different countries, I mean, it's really hard to predict people's sensitivities when they're coming from it's all English speaking, but when they're coming from UK, Australia, South Africa, Canada, and America. It's interesting. There's a huge range of sensitivities, and it's completely unpredictable. So it makes it hard. It makes it hard to cover anything. Yeah, those kind of scenarios where you cut to black. Yeah, Christopher's saying, yeah, that's true, and that's I think that's an important thing to at least say, and I think Monster Hearts does a pretty good job of that. Is you don't have to play out because there is a sex mechanic, but you don't have to play out sex scenes. It is a very TV movie fade to black kind of situation. So mechanically it's triggered, but you don't have to make people uncomfortable. All right. Yeah, but if you have the right people, it gets pretty yeah. I don't think any of the Monster Heart sessions that we ever played are recordable in any way. So there's just no way to even edit around all the nonsense. And Matt saying, yeah, the 90s era RPGs are always trying to be edgy. Yeah, the whole industry was over the top. Yeah, and everything was extreme. The X games and everything had to be edgy and extreme and be a little bit too much just for its own sake. Yeah, so I think that definitely affected affected tabletop during that time. Yeah, Christopher said, yeah, Vampire the Masquerade was definitely over the top originally. Yeah, it started out that way. It didn't have to go anywhere. It arrived. Yeah, I never played Vampire the Masquerade. And I knew it was around. There was just nobody that I wanted to spend time with, I guess, that would have been into it. So I guess that's a key to that. But yeah, very funny. Yeah, so I don't know. So I'll take a look before next week. I'll take a look at the license agreement for the Year Zero engine and also Dragonbane, and kind of see what they did. I imagine if it's Free League, they have very great terms, very generous terms, and it's very easy to use because that only benefits them. That only gets people to join the community and keep supporting things. So, I hope I'm still live. It doesn't look good. So, what is going on here? Yeah, the internet maybe, not the internet, but what I'm putting out may not be good. Sorry, guys. Yeah, this is a little choppy. So I'll bring that bitrate way down and see if I can get it to not do this to us. It's so weird. It says excellent, but yeah, it keeps popping back and forth. Very strange. Now the chat is unreadable. There we go. Oh, okay, we're still live. Good. Nice. Abyss says, I think with rape you have to define it. Yeah, there are plenty of rapey things, but that do not fall under the rape definition under law. Yeah, a lot of and I think in a lot of games with like heavy manipulation and like mental powers and coercion and stuff. Yeah, you definitely have to make sure everybody is okay with that. Wasn't there like some big controversy over like love potions or something in 5e? So you never know what people are going to freak out about. You haven't lived until you've had Vampire the Masquerade LARPers interrupt your dinner at Denny's. I can't even imagine. You'll still live. So my example would be the tons of 5e spells that fall under rape. Yeah, right. There's a lot of manipulation. So sadly, your presence doesn't allow me to rant about the fanfic of the rings. Oh, that's funny. Oh, I saw, speaking of those powerful rings of power on Amazon, there's a really funny, somebody did an analysis of kind of the script and the plot of that series, and it makes sense if that was written by AI. If that was like, if a chat bot basically wrote that that show, it would have made the same mistakes that the writers did. So either the writers are so bad and so untalented that they're not even at the level, they're not even at human level of like a human television writer, because they talked about some of the weird logic problems and the weird characters kind of switching just their base characteristic or their base personalities, from scene to scene, really seems like something an AI would do. And they did an example where they generated some passage of text that was a love story between Galadriel and Sauron, and it's exactly what they wrote basically in Rings of Power. So there might be something they're not telling us to crank this garbage out and to not have to pay anyone. Maybe the writers do an outline and then they just feed it into Chat GPT or one of those language modeled AIs and just spit something out so they have a shooting script immediately. That's funny. Yeah, I think that's if LARP is assumed, LARPing is assumed in a tabletop game, I'm not really there. Yeah, right, yeah, definitely, yeah. Miguel, that's good. Yeah, adult themes are a good source of roleplay if you know the players and you know you're not freaking anybody out. Yeah, chatbot rom-com in Lord of the Rings. Yeah, it was really funny though because it made a lot of sense, like those comparisons, and what they were saying is like, yeah, that's possible. It's very possible that this was assisted. That's why it didn't make any sense because if there was anybody that took even a second look at that script, there would have caught some of those weird logic problems and things that could have been fixed. Suspicious seeing how vacuous the writers looked in the promo material. Yeah, Miguel, that's a good point. Yeah, very weird. And when they would just say, "Oh yeah, we're very big fans. We're really crazy." Yeah, that it was very lifeless and soulless. But I don't know. Maybe that's that's just why they were so appealing. Very malleable showrunners. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Amazon is. Yeah. I think it still says we should be okay. I don't know what the heck is going on. So I'll lower that bitrate again. So maybe I'm just choking the platforms with too much stream. The stream is too whatever. My bitrate needs to go down. All right. Yeah, I can't imagine in what like bizarre ways that's going to be used. And so it's going to be interesting because there may be like this divide between people's entertainment, people that are just happy talking to a chat bot and happy to have AI generated, stories for their content, and then people that aren't, people that want actually something that feels like a human was involved, a human mind was involved. Christopher saying, so we're putting the main bad guy and the main heroine together. Yeah, why? Well, because they were on a little piece of a boat, they were on a raft that she happened to swim to in the middle of this like endless sea. She happened upon it. Of course, why not? Yeah, very, really, really bizarre choices. I can't imagine that they're going to be able to recover from that first season, but maybe they don't have to. Maybe Amazon, because I don't think there's a single, I think maybe Tales from the Loop I watched all the way, but that was only one season. But everything else, like things that I was initially excited about on Amazon, like Man in the High Castle and stuff, it just died. It just like went away. The story and everything just meandered and it got really terrible and just stopped watching. So there's so many things that I didn't finish, but they kept making them. So yeah, I don't know. Amazon is and with streaming platforms too, they have numbers, but unless that translates into subscribers, it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't matter how many people that are already subscribed. If they watch or not, they still get your subscription money. So like views it doesn't make any sense. I guess it's a way to rate who might talk about it online, but I think they're also getting confused because they have the metrics now where they see things that are trending on social media, and they don't understand that trending can be very negative, and it's not going to get new people to want to watch the show. It's going to get people to just ridicule it and enjoy that second or I guess third party content that's just hate watching it. That's what's going to probably make more money than actually your own subscribers. Crazy. Yeah, it's really Abyss said, I found it comically hilarious how Galadriel almost became Sauron's love interest. Imagine the outrage. Yeah, that's her. That's her one person she didn't talk about. And my husband's still alive. Oh, how did this happen? It was a telenovela. I mean, it really was. They were going for that. I thought you were dead. Those reveals. Apparently the 5-year deal of Rings of Power, it's a 5-year deal, so get ready for a lot more. Yeah, Christopher, I think you're right. I think they're just going to keep cranking it out, and there's going to be even more incentive to just let an AI create it if they're contractually obligated to create it. Nice. Yeah, Matt saying, yeah, end of Man of the High Castle sucks so bad. Yeah, it was really, yeah. It's too bad. I haven't, there haven't been a lot of Amazon series that I've made it through. So Christopher saying, honestly, the worst aspect of it was the rom-com element, because it was hilarious. The least worst, sorry, element. More Rings of Power. Yes. But at least it's 2 years away, right? So next year. So Galadriel's going full authoritative killer on orcs and rom-coms, and the rom-com stuff was great. It was so bad. It U-shaped back to it. Yeah, it's very. Galadriel never married. She would never submit to the elven patriarchy. Yes, that's right. This Galadriel was single for life. She had her orc slaying career to think about. Oh, that's funny. All right. Well, I'll stop stuttering and sticking and freezing for this week, and I'll turn everything down, and hopefully we'll get a smoother stream next week. Yeah, sorry, I'm dipping again. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm just sending too much data. So I already brought it under 4,000, so I'll bring it under 3,000 and see if that'll make the difference. So thank you guys. If you can still understand and watch this, thanks for watching, and we'll be doing this again next week. So take care, everyone, and see you then. Goodbye.